All right, today it's a CGC 9.8 market update video. I got 20 CGC 9.8 sales to go through, and thinking about the market, like I'm not really seeing any real signs of like a significant correction or anything like that. I think most books are kind of hanging in there, and some even kind of grinding higher, actually. So yeah, let's have a look here at the sales list. First one up is a Star Wars #1 in the CGC 9.8. Yeah, seeing one of these sell on eBay. First Star Wars comic. Yeah, such a great 9.8 to invest in. One selling on eBay for $6,000. Yeah, $6,000 US for this one. Interesting, this seller had two of them up for sale. So there was this one, which was in an old case. Still looking pretty good. You know, nice centering, maybe not perfectly centered to his other copy. Because yeah, another one in a new case up for $8,000, buy it now. And this one in the old case for $6,000, buy it now, which was purchased. So all things considered for Star Wars, there's been a few 9.8s that have went over 6,000. I'm pretty sure there's been a few that had sold even over 7,000. So $6,000, kind of a fair value for a Star Wars #1 in the 9.8 right now. All right, moving on. Amazing Spider-Man #226. This one is a pretty, if you're a Black Cat fan, kind of a cool secondary Black Cat issue to consider. Pretty old one, so yeah, it makes a good collector item in the 9.8, I think. Seen one sell in an auction too. I was kind of curious to see what it would sell at. $263.28. So a cool Black Cat issue that's somewhat affordable. It kind of went for more than I would have thought. I thought maybe, you know, this one might not get over 200. But a cool secondary Black Cat issue to consider if you're a Black Cat fan. Amazing Spider-Man #226, selling for $263.28. Next one is one we've touched on recently a few times. Swamp Thing 49 in the 9.8. Seeing this one sell in an auction too, $168.50. So Swamp Thing 49 may be a bit of a Justice League Dark prototype, this one. I prefer Swamp Thing 50. I like the cover a little bit better, although the close-up Swamp Thing cover of this one is really cool too. But Swamp Thing 50 I think plays more as a first appearance of Justice League Dark with John Constantine working together with everyone else. So, but 49, I think this one here is a fair value. This, if you want this one, is a fair value to aim for here. $168.50 for Swamp Thing 49, 9.8 white pages. Next one, I saw Saga #1 in the 9.8 sell. This one's got a big cult of following, and I still haven't got around to reading this one. Yeah, I'm not the biggest reader of comic books nowadays, but I hope to read this one because a lot of people on the team love it, and this one's still catching a buck in the 9.8, $621 in an auction too for this one. Saga #1. So this one is really popular, and I think that's about a fair value right now. Yeah, right around $600. One selling for $621. This one, next one here, kind of out of left field, but I saw it sell, and a pretty cool one at a great price. It's a Sandman Presents Lucifer #1. So this goes down as kind of the first solo Lucifer comic book. And Lucifer Morningstar, he's a character in the Sandman storyline, and like his first appearance is Sandman #4, I believe, first appearance of Lucifer Morningstar. This is his first solo book in the 9.8. There's not too many of them on the census. I was kind of checking this one and watching this one. It ended up selling for $43 in the 9.8. So super underfollowed, but I think it's a decent value, certainly if you're into Lucifer at all. Like my girlfriend and I, we watch the Lucifer Netflix show occasionally, and it's pretty cool. Yeah, good actors and pretty enjoyable, I think. So I was keeping an eye on this one, and you know, at $43, maybe I should have bid, but yeah, it's a Sandman Presents Lucifer #1 in the 9.8 for $43. Next one is War of the Realms New Agents of Atlas #1 in the 9.8. So this is a modern that's catching a bid right now. Yeah, and I've heard from some people on the team there's some potential here with some of the first appearances, and seeing in an auction this one sell for $340 in the 9.8 blue label. So this one I sort of put it in the category of maybe like Kanan the Last Padawan #1 or #6, where like Sabine Wren could be in some of, or maybe it's Ezra Bridger is in some of the Star Wars content that's going to come out in the next few years. Well, yeah, similar pricing in the 9.8 to this new Agents of Atlas. So people have some high hopes for some of the characters in this one. So, and I think this was an auction, so $340 is probably about the fair value for a new Agents of Atlas #1 in the 9.8 right now. Next one was such a cool one to see sell. I never see this one. A Batman 404 in the newsstand in a CGC 9.8. So I was watching this one. I was going to bid, but I had a feeling that it was going to go out of my pricing range. So it ended up selling, you never see this one, in the newsstand, 9.8 of Batman 404. $1,326.88 selling in an auction. So to be honest, I was thinking of bidding maybe $550. So I would have clearly been outbidded. But yeah, you just never see this one. This is one of my favorite issues ever. I'm just lately haven't been in the mood to really pay up for some comics, but I think whoever bought that, good on them. $1,326.88 for a Batman 404 newsstand in the 9.8. All right, next one, Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic number 42. This one I think is making a lot of sense, and I'm kind of hitting myself. There's quite a few people on the team thinking about this one because it's the first appearance of Revan. A lot of people have mentioned like it's a borderline cameo, like you see him in a cloak, you don't even see his face kind of deal. And what is that, Knights of the Old Republic 9? So Knights of the Old Republic 42 is the origin of Revan, and a lot of people have mentioned to me that this plays really well as his first full appearance. And the book's done so well, trending so well. This one in an auction going for $1,009 for a Knights of the Old Republic 42 in the 9.8. And when some of the people on the team were talking about this one, and I should have made some videos. This was maybe 4 to 6 months ago. This one was like $300, $350. So trending so well. I think a lot of other people, when they get into it and read the comics or look into Knights of the Old Republic number 9, and this 42 one really kind of stands out as being pretty undervalued. $1,009 now in the 9.8. I don't know if you want to get in there now, but it's kind of a hot one now, unfortunately. All right, next one, Star Wars Heir to the Empire number 1 in the CGC 9.8. Yeah, first, Admiral Thrawn here. This one, even though it's a hot one and it's trended well, I think there still could be some upside for this one. I've said in the past, and I still think that. 1,638 saw one sell for in an auction because Thrawn, they mentioned his name in Mandalorian, the show, and I think there's a good chance that maybe Thrawn becomes like the Thanos of some of these Star Wars movies that might come out in the next 5 years. So if that happens, you're going to get a lot of Thrawn promo in the next little bit, and Heir to the Empire I think will certainly hold its value, and it's looking good moving forward here for this one. And it's a Dark Horse Star Wars comic, so lower printed than like some of the Marvel ones, so it's a really good collector item I think in the 9.82. I think there's only about 200 of them in the blue label 9.8. Next one was a really cool one to see sell. Amazing Spider-Man 316 in the newsstand, though, in the 9.8. Yeah, these newsstand ones from kind of the late 80s are really being, sought after and collected. This one, though, in an auction, so a good idea of the fair value, I think, and kind of a quick 7-day auction on eBay, selling for $2,700. I think all things considered, how much things have heated up, the direct edition is kind of selling for like $1,700, $1,600. You're seeing a couple sell for. So in the newsstand version, $2,700 actually is not too bad, and a good example of you're patient, you wait in an auction, you get this one for a decent price. Whereas I think it would have been pretty easy to overpay for this one in the last, let's call it 2 to 4 months when newsstands have really heated up. You could have paid over $3,000 for this one. A lot of people trying to, buy it now for higher prices. So you're patient. $2,700, I think, is a good deal for Amazing Spider-Man 316 newsstand in the 9.8. Wolverine Limited Series, number 1, the next one here. I forgot to mention this completed listing on the Wolverine video I did yesterday. It had sold in an auction, limited series number 1, Wolverine, $1,152. Because I think I mentioned on the last video, I think some were selling under $1,000, and that might be a good price target, but maybe this one's going over $1,000. It is a classic Wolverine issue. Wolverine's really heating up, it seems, lately, being such a classic hero. So, maybe you might have to go over $1,000 for this one in the 9.8 to get it. Next one, a Marvel Age 41, the classic Stan Lee cover. Yeah, we touched on this one. Seeing one sell for $169.99. I think that's a decent fair value. Maybe if you're a bit more patient on top of your searches, you get this near like $150 or less. But I like this one as a cool Stan Lee collectible. Yeah, Stan's the man for sure. Next one, a cool one to see sell. Uncanny XMen number 266. First full appearance of Gambit, classic book, selling for $1,339.95. So yeah, definitely this one's going on the list, as I really wish I bought one of these when There were some in auctions. I remember 2 years ago that would have been now $320, $350. Most of the auctions were under $400 unless it just looked perfectly centered kind of thing in the direct edition. Now $1,339.95. Hopefully Gambit gets in the MCU X-Men and just looks awesome. Next one I took note of, Thanos 13 in the second printing though. I think someone on the team kind of mentioned this one as being a cool one. It's got Cosmic Ghost Rider on the cover, unlike on the first print, so that might make it kind of collectible. And it's more affordable too than the first print, so this might make sense. $149. Saw one sell, Thanos 13, second print, 9.8 for $149. Next one here, Uncanny XMen 205. So we've been touching on this book, and I was surprised just doing a kind of a completed listing search this morning, seeing this one sell in the last day here for $200 in the 9.8. It was a new listing that had popped up because, you know, for this one, I did sort of recommend it as a cool kind of under-followed Wolverine key, but that doesn't mean you should rush on eBay and pay like $300 for it. Just, you know, take note if you like it and stay on top of your searches, and then be patient, and maybe even a couple weeks later something might pop up and you can get it for close to a fair value. $200 I think is pretty close to a fair value. You might be able to get it for $180 if you're really patient. Wait for an auction, but it would have been really easy to pay like $300. I think there was one for $325 on eBay like the whole time I was making videos here in the last week or two that someone could have overpaid for, and I don't know if it's sold. I didn't look if it sold or not, but a good example of, though, being patient, you save a little bit of money. Uncanny X-Men 205 going for $200. The Weapon X prototype, pretty cool one. All right, Venomlethal Protector, the next one here, number 1. A really popular Venom key, and you know, there's a lot of them, not the most rare in the 9.8. Maybe go for the newsstand version of this one if you're kind of a big fan. I think that's a better collector item, but in the direct, one selling for $180. I think you maybe get under $150 in this one. $180 might be near the higher end of fair value for this one, but maybe Venom's heating up going into Venom 2. This is kind of a classic Venom key that's affordable. Going for $180. All right, next one, a Batman Beyond number 1. So yeah, I brought mine out here. Batman Beyond number 1. This was an auction, and it's in the UPC code versions, like the first print of Batman Beyond number 1, not like the Origin issue or the Six Flags issues. There's a couple other versions that I don't think are as collectible. You kind of want the first print one, and you don't see them in an auction. So I saw one sell, 9.8 white pages, $2,716. So interesting with this seller, there's one online right now with maybe 2 days left. Batman Beyond 1, same thing, from this same seller in an auction. This seller as well posted one like a month before this, 2,716, and that one in an auction went for 2,300, and we documented that on our pricing video too. So this one going for 2,716, one ending in a few days here. So I'm kind of, you know, looking forward and curious to see if that one goes over 2,716 for Batman Beyond number 1 in the first print, though. Yeah, it seems expensive, but this one came out in $19.99. Batman Beyond's got a big cult of fans, but in $19.99, kind of right in the middle of the comic book recession, pretty much. So printing was really low during that time, and these WB Kids books weren't taken the best care of, I don't think, as well. So it's a pretty rare one in the 9.8, and yeah, Batman Beyond's got the big cult of fans. Yeah, I love Batman Beyond. If you're not into Batman Beyond, just watch, like, you know, the first 3 or 4 episodes of Batman Beyond Season 1, and it's so awesome. So big cult of fans for Batman Beyond. We'll see if that auction goes over 2,716 in the next few days here. Next one, Captain America number 25. Sam Wilson becomes Captain America in this one from 2014. I'm kind of hitting myself. I should have really been talking about this one right alongside the first appearance of Winter Soldier book that I talked about quite a bit last year and recommended it as a great one to buy now leading into the Winter Soldier Falcon show. Same deal with this one. This one's selling, though, for $550 here just in the last day. This one was $175 to $200 in that range when I thought it was a really good buy. I don't think I made a video about it too, and that's on me, I guess. But, you know, do you want to get in there now with everyone loving the show? The demand is probably, you know, temporarily increased right now, and it went from $175 to $550. Personally, I'd be patient on this one, maybe a 2 to 4 month patience, be on top of your searches. One of these pops up, maybe you get it for like $400 or $375 or something like that in the next few months. An example of this that happened to me was I bought a Silver Surfer 44 CGC 9.8 when Avengers Endgame was in theater, and it ended up being like $230 or something like that in the 9.8 back then. After Avengers Endgame was out of theater, about 6 months later, I bought another one in the 9.8 Silver Surfer 44, first appearance of the Infinity Gauntlet, for $160. 6 months after Avengers Endgame was out of the theater, nobody was thinking about Avengers or Infinity Gauntlet anymore. I got a better deal. So I think you can do that with Captain America 25 moving forward here. Next one, an Avengers Annual number 10. Yeah, this one's been on fire. And in the 9.8, kind of for good reason. It's got a really good investment grade 9.8 ratio. I think it's like 10% of all graded copies are 9.8. So first appearance of Rogue, Madeline Pryor. Maybe Rogue's just looking awesome in the MCU X-Men. This one's probably still got some more upside. But I'm pretty sure this is right around the all-time high for this one, I believe. Maybe not, but 2000. $424.99. This one went in an auction. So it's a pretty rare one in the 9.8. It is, X-Men's being pretty heavily speculated on, admittedly, moving into some of these MCU X-Men movies, possibly. But X-Men's a huge brand and, kind of makes sense. So $2,424.99, I think, is about the fair value there. All right, last one. Marvel Superhero Secret Wars number 8. Yeah, this is a classic black costume key issue, absolutely. In the 9.8, probably my least favorite black costume key issue. I like Amazing Spider-Man 252, even Marvel Team Up 141, Amazing Spider-Man 300, 299, 298. They're more relatively rare in the 9.8 and better collector items for me. But this is a classic book, and it's heating up. Yeah, $950 seeing one sell for. And this kind of makes sense in the grand scheme of things. All those other books I just mentioned are kind of pushing $2,000 now, like 1,700. They're kind of selling in that range because they're a little more rare in the 9.8 when you're looking at the 9.8 ratio, and usually just in numbers as well. Like overall numbers, there's usually less of those ones. Secret Wars number 8, really popular. I think there's like almost 3,000 of them in the blue label 9.8. So for me, probably the last black costume key issue in the 9.8 to get, but it is the most affordable. And I think $950 to sort of $850 to $950 is probably about the fair value for Secret Wars number 8. All right, we'll leave it at that. I've got a full list of the comics and the prices in the description below if you want to have a quick look. But as I said, if, I am kind of on the lookout for any kind of, massive dips maybe in price or any type of correction, but things are being resilient. Yeah, resilient is kind of the word to use. I think a bit surprised that maybe some books haven't pulled back and some books are grinding higher. So yeah, I think the comic book market's still pretty hot, still pretty healthy for 9.8s, and that kind of makes me happy. But maybe if you're trying to buy, things seem really expensive. So there's kind of that double-edged sword, I think, right now. But all right, team, we'll leave it at that, though. Yeah, solid market update in the books. All right. Thanks for watching, though, as always, and I'll see you on the next one. Hey team, if you're liking this content, please subscribe and hit that bell, and I'll keep you updated on future videos.